Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today I would like to introduce you to a product that is going to help tame the fabric. Stop that fabric from stretching out of shape as we're sewing it. Regardless if we're putting up a hem on a stretch knit t-shirt or a pair of pants, or if we're making an entire garment, sometimes we need to stabilize those seams. And there is a product that will help do that. And it washes out. So the pattern I'm using today is this old pattern from New Look, but it's not the pattern that I really want to focus on. It's the fabric. So I have this beautiful red stretch knit. It has a beautiful drape, a beautiful stretch, and it has a beautiful roll to it. And that roll can make it difficult to sew with. So after I cut out my pattern and I take those pins off, there's a chance that some of those seams are going to roll. And you can already see here where that one seam is already starting to roll. Once you cut out that pattern, if you just take the piece that you've cut out and just give it a little tug, you'll know if that section is going to roll or not. And you can see that is where the roll is. So it's going to be right here. So once I've identified the areas that are going to give me that little bit of a problem, I'm going to need to stabilize that fabric. And there's a product that we can use that's going to stabilize this, and then it washes out. And the product is from ThermoWeb, and it is called fabric stiffener. And that's exactly what it does. It stiffens fabric. A lot of times you will see this used in crafts and hobbies, so it can stiffen a bow so it keeps that shape. It can also stiffen fabric so you're going to be able to use it and manipulate it. Like this doily. We just need to spray this on until the item is damp, put it in the shape we want, and let it dry. If you want it stiffer, you just need to add a second coat. So this is great for these fun projects, but it's a great thing to have on hand when you're working with stretch knits. So here's a piece of the fabric that has been treated. And this piece was this piece. So this roll is now flat. And you can still stretch it and use it. So what I want to do is treat those fussy spots before I'm going to sew it. I'm going to be putting that fabric in between two pressing cloths. And this is a great one to use. They're sheets of paper and glue and stuff does not stick on. So here's that area that I know is going to roll out of the way. So I'm going to just take the pins out. I have that pressing paper underneath. I'm going to move that paper out of the way. And now I can treat it. Now we need to really shake this up. And now you can spray it. I like to spray in a bowl and then just use a brush. It just has a little bit more control. So I'm just going to put it onto that seam. I do have the shiny side of that paper down. I'm going to get another piece, shiny side down, cover that area, and just make sure I get underneath and hold that seam flat. So now I'm going to be able to dry that with the iron. A medium iron will work fine and give that little area a press. I like to wait until that cools down a little bit, but look, it stopped the curling. So now I'm going to do this side. No more curling. So I'm going to take off that paper. Now I know that seam is stabilized. So I'm going to go through and I am going to treat the seams that I know are going to give me that rolling problem. And then I'm going to be able to go to the machine and sew this. My shirt is almost done. This is the seam that's under the arm, and this is where I stabilized. And you can see how nice and flat it is. It didn't stretch out of shape, and I was able just to stitch with that regular needle. I also stabilized this sleeve area. So I was able just to turn that fabric over. I did do a twin needle. It didn't stretch. It's nice and flat. And none of the fabric rolled to the back. And there is the collar, and look how nice and flat it is, and it didn't stretch out of shape. The one thing I did leave was the hem. I just really wanted to show you the difference. This back hem I did stabilize. The front I did not. And look how much this is rolling. Now that that is stabilized, you can see how much easier this is going to be to stitch. It's going to stitch up evenly, and I'm not having to fight with that roll. And a little bit really does go a long way. Now when I'm done, I do like to take this little nozzle off, clean that spray out so it's ready for the next time. But there are so many things that we can stabilize and stiffen that fabric before we do things, such as hems on sweatpants, t-shirts, putting pockets on that have a tendency to stretch, buttonholes, decorative top stitching on any fabric, especially a stretch fabric, t-shirts, t-shirt quilts, basically anything that fabric needs to be stiffened and then washed away. This is the answer. So my top has been washed and all of that stabilizer has washed out. So I have a beautiful hem. Everything is nice and flat. It didn't stretch out of place as I was sewing it, and it was a joy to make, even though I had that roly-poly fabric. So if you have a stretch knit that's giving you a bit of a hard time, well, you need to teach it who's boss. I'll put some links in the description so you can check it out. And thanks for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter. It's all free under Sew Very Easy. And be sure to make every day a Sewtacular day. Bye for now.